Interviews with business owners and veteran executives who share their wisdom and expertise to help you de-stress, free up time, and make more money. Profits of IT. Welcome back to the Profits of IT. I am Jim Punzenberger, your host and the creator of the Managed Prospecting System. Looking to generate new clients or partners, be sure to check out managedprospectingsystem.com. Very excited to have Jim McKee with me today. Jim's been in the industry a very long time, it sounds like. He started in the Bell system, then got into payment processing software, created software that was really turned into, or parts of it, I guess, were used by PayPal, correct?
Yes.
And now is being used by Visa. And now from the payment processing, he learned about that the cyber world is not safe and got into that. And now he's an expert in cybersecurity. So Jim, please introduce yourself and tell us a quick bit about your company.
All right. Well, thank you, Jim. I'm Jim McKee. I'm the founder and CEO of Red Sky Alliance, also known as Wallpack Labs. We are in the cyber threat intelligence business. We collect from our own sources and collections, and we index and we break our our intelligence out into 10 different data sets, from breach data to dark web data. You know, my background at the Bell system, I learned Unix programming, and then when I founded Paylink's company with a couple of friends, who's a payment processing company, but we did things that people didn't think you could ever do, like take payments on the internet and return a real-time authorization and real-time settlement batches. So these are things that payment people didn't believe could be done. But since we were just telephone company kids, we didn't know any better. And we understood what the toll buildings did for long distance services, you know, running the long distance calls the cheapest way possible. And so we just copied that and said, well, let's figure out how to run credit card transactions at the lowest possible cost. So you'd find this interesting that a $25 Visa transaction also really processes cheaper on the Visa system. So there are all sorts of anomalies that we figured out, and we used something back in 1996 no one ever heard about, artificial intelligence. But as I fast forward into the 21st century, that's become very, very important, and trying to teach systems how to react. The reason we started collecting the intelligence was to help Fortune 250 companies. But then we found that we could take our intelligence and make them into services that, you know, anyone could use. And so that's kind of it in a capsule, Jim.
Cool. So normally I ask to have my guests tell me something interesting about themselves, but it sounds like the cybersecurity thing is way more important to learn about. What's like one thing that everybody in the IT world should know about the cyber threats right now, and what they should be doing to, I guess, protect their companies, themselves, their clients.
Well, I guess it all gets down to good cyber hygiene. You know, a day doesn't pass by that I don't get at least 6 phishing calls on my phone or phishing emails. And it's so easy to try to trick someone. And by opening up a conversation or answering an email, well, you can be infected very easily. And so education, training are just the utmost. You can have the best firewall, you can have the best virus protection, you can be using my services and learn about threats that haven't broken in yet. But if you have someone who opens up a perfect stranger's vacation pictures, or makes a friend on Facebook who asks for a favor, hey, can you look this up for me? You know, That's the weak link. The humans are the weak link in cybersecurity. And I wish they weren't, because, you know, I'm a human, but also being a CFO, people referred to me as a reptile, you know, for at least 25 years. So I don't know, maybe I'm kind of a hybrid.
I read half reptile, half human.
That's right. That's right. You got to be a reptile when everyone's knocking on your door wanting money for something. So it's just like, you know what, I got really armor skin, you know. So I just sit there and say no, no, and more no.
I guess being a sales guy too, you need to be reptile also.
Well, you have to. It's kind of like my dating career. You know, you've got to deal with rejection.
So
I'm happy to say I've been married to the same beautiful woman for 42 years. So I haven't had to play that dating thing, but I don't think I could be in the dating game with Facebook and Twitter and, you know, all this other stuff out there. It's just like, my God, how did they find that picture of my friend and I shooting moons, you know, out of the window of a car in, you know, 1968, you know?
So it sounds like being a reptile is kind of like also has to do with dealing with objections or such. Is that something that you would say was one of the keys to your success?
Well, I was trained at the Bell system in the 70s, and they sent us to executive sales school. And we were taught that every objection is a buying signal. And instead of taking it as a rejection, you had to figure out a way to take their question and make it into something positive for what your services or what you think you could help your client, you know, with their problems. And this was back in the olden days, before the internet, before cell phones. You know, this was like, you try to explain this to young people today, they thought we lived in caves and threw rocks at each other. It was pretty much the way it was. But the whole point is you had to find out what the business problem was. The biggest mistake too many people make in sales is they're trying to sell something. What we try to do, and I've used this technique, you know, for 40 odd years, is what problem are you trying to solve that I might be able to help you with? Or I know someone who had a similar problem and we help them solve it this way. Then the other quick piece is, well, you know, Jim, working with me, I can either show you ways to save money or show you ways to make money. And so those are a couple of the ways that you can get around objections. And having thick skin and being in the biz for a long time, you just learn. And you also need to read people. You know, Jim here in front of me, he looks very relaxed, but he could be all tensed up where I can't see his hands. But they're just little things. And like I was telling Jim earlier, I always refer to myself as a C student, because I don't want people to think I'm trying to be smarter than they are, because what I'm trying to do is listen and figure out a way that we can do something together, which is mutually profitable.
So what are other keys to your success? You know, it seems like you've been very successful. You've been successful in multiple different organizations. What tips do you have for others that might help them become more successful themselves?
Well, I think one of the biggest keys to success is having a very supportive wife who, you know, worked through me with a number of companies. Some of them did very, very well. Some of them didn't do so well. And some of them I sold off. And the other thing is, which is kind of lost in today's world, Jim, is honesty. If you can't do it, I can't do it. But I know someone who might be able to help you with that. The thing is, there's just been so much flim flam in my entire career of what people say that something can do, and it can't. And you're only going to be hurting yourself if you misrepresent your product or your pricing and then have an unhappy customer. You know, through my sales career, I relied on referrals. And getting a referral from someone, or introduction, knocked a big piece off of the 10 steps of system selling. And I'm an advocate of system selling. I learned that, you know, in 1978. and I've used it ever since. And the other thing is if it's going to be a no sale, you exit. If there's not a commitment to move ahead or consider buying what I'm selling, if I can solve this problem, you move on to your next prospect. Early on in my career, I watched people who would milk accounts because they didn't know what else to do. And there was never going to be a sale, but the guy kept going out there every week and became friends with the customer contact person, but never closed a sale. So you've got to have priorities. And my priority always was to beat quota and make money. You know, it's just one of those old fashioned things.
Yeah, that's old fashioned, making money.
Yeah. But the whole thing is, I never wanted to make money at someone else's expense. This had to work for both parties. And even when I was, acquiring companies or selling companies or recommending companies and things, it had to be a good match. You know, you wanted both parties to leave the table shaking hands, knowing that they were dealt fairly. You didn't want anyone leaving the table mad, because then that wasn't a good deal.
Any final thoughts around this?
Well, I guess the final thoughts is watch your cyber hygiene. You know, I get people, I'm sure of my list of close friends in LinkedIn, not everyone is who they say they are. And so be very careful with sharing information. And like I was telling Jim earlier, is watch about phishes, because there are people out there who are doing research on you or your company, and they're going to try to hit you with their best pitch to have you open a document or a spreadsheet or click on a website, and then you're infected with a Trojan. And then the Trojan's going to, be used to bring in ransomware and all sorts of other nasty things that can just make your day horrible.
So, Jim, opportunity for elevator pitch here. Who would you like to talk to, and why would you like to talk to them?
Well, I can talk to any company, because all companies or all organizations are under attack. I have a service that is called Red X-Ray that can tell you of cyber threats that have not yet broken in. What is the value to your organization to not have to mitigate a cyber breach? If you can avoid a cyber breach, that's money in the bank for you. And one of my services, Red X-Ray, can do that.
Red X-Ray. And if somebody's interested in Red X-Ray, how should they get more information about it, or go about contacting you?
Well, they can go to our website, which is www.wallpack.labs.com, or they can contact me, JMCKEE at wallpacklabs.com. I'd be happy to talk to them.
Great. Well, thank you, Jim, for your time today and sharing your great knowledge.
My great knowledge. Yeah, tell that to my 7th grade English teacher who thought I was an idiot.
Well,
all right, thanks, Jim.
My teachers probably thought I was an idiot too. So, actually, well, I guess being successful in life and being successful in school can be two different things.
I agree. All right, Jim.
Well,
thank you very much for the opportunity today, and you have a great day too.
Thank you.
Right.
And
thank you.
Until next time on the Profits of IT, I am Jim Punzenberger, your host and the creator of the Managed Prospecting System. Be sure to check out managedprospectingsystem.com.
Thank you for tuning in to the Profits of IT. Please smash that like button, subscribe, and share.